Hey you girls, welcome back to my channel. So in this one I thought I would tell you guys about unspoken social rules because y'all were not raised right, okay? More seriously though, I know that a lot of people are raised within the social care system and they're not lucky enough to get good families, or maybe you're raised by your mother and she herself just didn't know about these unspoken social rules. The first one being, if you are at somebody's house and they say, oh, it's getting late, you know, they fake yawn or actually yawn and say, I'm getting tired, it's your clue to go home, okay? This person, unlike me, is being too nice, you know, to throw your behind out, so you should excuse yourself and actually go home, okay? If you have to borrow something, anything, more than 3 times, you need to get your own. Now, let's say every time you go to your friend's house, you're like, oh, can I borrow your charger? Can I borrow your charger? Can I borrow your charger? And also, ladies, if your friend asks you to give the charger back, you don't ask, what many person are you? You just give it back, okay? It's not yours to begin with, so don't do that, okay? It's silly. Now, another thing is, if you ask someone to drive you somewhere, you have to, you know, propose at least to pay for the gas, to cover the gas. Now, if it's only once, maybe it's okay, but if you have to repeatedly ask someone, you know, like 2-3 times, can you drive me here, there, you know, then you should ask them to cover the gas, because I mean, you know, why should they drive you on their own gas, like wherever you want to go? Like, it's not like they're your chauffeur or something, okay? So if you call your friend and say, hey girl, can you drive me to I don't know where, you should tell them, of course, I'm gonna cover, you know, the gas. Or once you're in the car, you say like, okay, you know, if you guys go by the gas station, can I pay for it? It's just like the, you know, the not rude thing to do. Also, if you're invited at somebody's house, you know, your friend makes a meal and she invited you, you always bring something, okay? You bring a glass of wine, you bring flowers, you bring some juice. If the person, you know, doesn't drink alcohol, you bring something, anything, some sweet, some chocolate, but you do not go to an invite a friend, you know, spend hours and hours and hours cooking, especially, you know, for a large group, and you go without bringing anything. That's just not something that is done. Also, do not bring anybody with you unless you cleared it up with a person who's throwing the party prior. So if your friend invites you at a dinner party, do not just bring along a +1 without letting them know, like, can I please, you know, bring XYZ, she's a friend of mine. Be respectful of this person's home, which is their private space. You cannot just bring randomly XYZ people with you, okay? Also, do not make any comment about the food if you don't like it. Try to, you know, don't be like, oh, I think, you know, it's nice, but it would have been nice if you added a little bit of cumin or this or that or the third, you know. It's not very nice. If someone invites you and you don't really enjoy the food, I say just eat very little of it and then say thank you, and then, you know, let them have the rest. Keep it in the refrigerator. They can eat it or their kids can eat it, but it's not very, you know, mindful to comment on someone's cooking and say, yeah, it wasn't very good, or it was too salty, or it was too oily, or it was, I guess, you know, that's the gossip, the after party thing that you tell other people, which you should not if someone was kind enough to invite you in their home. But yeah, don't directly tell the person that, you know, this is missing nutmeg or cinnamon, unless this is somebody you are very extremely close to, okay? Also, in a group setting, do not speak a language that the third person doesn't understand, okay? This is a big difference that I have as an immigrant here in Germany. Sometimes I will befriend people from Kenya or from Ghana, and they're going to speak just, you know, Tree if they're from Ghana, or Swahili if it's the Kenyan group, and I'm like, why are you doing this? You know, I don't understand a single word. It's not fun for me to hang out with you if you're speaking this language that I don't understand. And I understand that sometimes people don't do it on purpose because they're so used to speaking this language, but you really have to try not to do this. I actually used to have one of my closest friends come from Senegal like me and speak the same language, but I always made it, you know, a point not to speak Wolof when we would hang out with somebody else. Like, every time I would tell her, girl, can you please speak in German? Girl, can you please speak in a language that this person understands? Because when you're speaking a language that the third person doesn't understand, first of all, they could think you're talking about them. But even if they don't have this negative mindset and they don't think you're gossiping about them, still, it's not a vibe. Like, this third person is just sitting there and you know, they can't be part of the conversation. So please, if you're hanging out with someone who doesn't understand a certain language, be mindful. This goes for the phone as well. Like, why do you go out with somebody if all you want to do is scroll through TikTok and scroll through Instagram? Like, please, ma'am, stay at home and scroll through your phone. Okay, don't be with people at coffee shop or restaurant, just be on your phone the entire time just scrolling. Be mindful, okay, of other people's time. Okay, so don't do that. That's very not respectful. I have noticed that sometimes people do this to the phone as well. So sometimes I will be, and granted, it's the long conversation that I have with a very close friend of mine, but sometimes I will notice that the other person at the other end of the line is not really engaged. So they're going, okay, and I know, you know, they're probably on Instagram or something. It's rude. Like, just tell to the person, you know what, I have to go and just hang up and scroll through Instagram or TikTok or wherever it is you want to scroll. And I guess this brings us to, you know, the next thing that you don't want to do is when you're having a conversation with somebody and they go, that's your clue that the conversation is over. Okay? If you're having a conversation with somebody and all of a sudden they're not answering you with full sentences anymore, they're going scrolling through their phone, the conversation is over, baby. Their social battery is empty. They want to be alone. They're introvert. Leave them alone. Okay, stop, because they're not interested. They no longer want to engage. Okay, now if you continue engaging with someone who is I'm sorry, but you are very low on the emotional intelligence totem pole. Okay, because yeah. Also, do not comment unprovoked on people's looks, especially if you have something negative to say. Okay, remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, say nothing at all. Okay, keep it cute or keep it mute. Okay, so unless you are complimenting somebody, do you hear me? I repeat, do not comment on their look. Do not comment on the lipstick choice. Do not comment on anything that they have on them. Unless you like it and you have something nice to say about it, do not comment about it, because they didn't ask you for your opinion, and it's very rude for you to unprovokedly, you know, comment on the way that someone decided to style their hair, their makeup, something, anything. Okay, unless this is a super close friend of yours, unless you guys' relationship allow for this, do not comment on the way they look. Okay, I remember years ago a friend of mine did this. I had this purple lipstick from the first Fenty Beauty launch. I don't remember the name of the product. Heroin. It was very very popular back then, and I had heroin on, and I remember her telling me, is this the lipstick you're gonna wear? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And yeah, I didn't like it. You know, the undertone is that, you know, it doesn't look good on you. I just don't like it. Do not do this. Do not comment on people's hairstyle, what they have on, their weight, something, anything, nothing. Okay, and this goes for acne. Please, this is one thing we are not going to do in 2025. Do not go to women in the street that you don't know. I actually witnessed this at Sephora twice and be like, have you tried this and that product for your acne? Honey, no. Trust me, if they have acne to the point where it's so noticeable that you as a stranger noticed it, that it's caught your eye, trust me when I tell you, they tried everything. You are not being mindful at all. You are not being respectful at all when you come to a stranger and say, have you tried XYZ for your acne? It's not acceptable. Do not do this. Okay, please. Okay, the same thing goes for pregnancies, ladies. My sister was married for the longest time, and you know, her husband and her, they were trying, but you know, women are going through things sometimes, or sometimes, you know, the husband has problems. Like, couples go through things, you know, they go through miscarriages, they go through things, and people would always ask her, so when are you guys gonna have a baby? When are you guys gonna have a child? When are you guys gonna have a baby? Please, please, please do not do this. You don't know if the person who you are asking this question to is going through a miscarriage or they just went through one. Please, please, please. Sometimes people can't conceive. It's not always that people don't want to, which is also something that we should respect, but I feel like it hits more, it hurts more when the person is trying, when they're going to doctors, when they are getting, you know, injection, when the husband is trying, etc., etc., going through miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, and here you are asking the person, so when are you gonna have a baby? Please don't do this. Okay, be mindful. You don't know if it's within their control or not. You don't know anything about what's going on behind closed door. Okay, now another thing that is absolutely unacceptable is pointing at people in the street. Listen, no. Okay, don't point at anybody for whatever reason. Even if you think this is the gorgeous girl, still do not point at them. Okay, like, and I feel I have to blame parents for this, because my daughter used to point at people when she was much younger, and I would actually tell her, you know, as she got older, we don't point at people in the street. It's not very respectful. You know, it is kind of, I mean, it's not kind of, it's rude. Okay, I would see people point at, you know, really big people, or point at, you know, people who are disabled. This is a big thing. Don't do this. I mean, I can't imagine why a grown person would point at someone else in the street. Is just not okay. I remember actually the other day I was out with a good acquaintance of mine, and you know, she pointed at someone else and said, "Oh, I thought you were dark, but this one is even darker than you." Baby, the awkward silence that followed that sentence. Yeah, you could hear the flies in the room with us. So please don't point at people. It's not very mindful. It's not very respectful. It's just not something. It's really a no-go. Okay, like, don't point out people weight gain. Okay, people have mirror. Repeat after me. They got a mirror at home. Okay, if someone gained a tremendous amount of weight, trust me, they know they did. Okay, trust and believe they know they did. So don't bring it up and provoke, or tell them you should try this and this for your weight loss. Ma'am, don't nobody ask you. Okay, you will not ask. If the person asks you, then of course, you know, give your ask opinion, but do not tell somebody about, you know, what they should do to lose weight unless they ask you. I feel this goes without saying, but don't touch the belly of pregnant women. Like, absolutely not. Okay, not if you haven't asked, not if you're not close to the person. It's just not okay. Right? It's an invasion of privacy. It's not something that should be done. Okay, I can't believe I didn't start with this, but asking people how much they paid for something is rude. Okay, it's unacceptable. And you know, this could be items, or even how much they pay in rent. Funny enough, a lot of people always ask me how much I pay for rent, and we don't have a relationship that allows for this, and I'm always baffled. Like, Uber drivers sometimes, you know, they pick me up and they're like, "Do you live here?" Probably they're asking this because, you know, I'm a dark-skinned black woman. And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, this is a really nice neighborhood. Like, you know, I heard it's really expensive." And I'm like, yeah, I guess. You know, at that point, I kind of like, I'm a bit disengaged because I know exactly where they're going. And then they'll ask, you know, "So how much are you paying rent?" And I'm like, I don't know. My husband is the one that pays the rent. Now, I'm not married, but I'm not comfortable telling Uber drivers like how much I pay for rent. And I'm also not comfortable telling them or disclosing that I'm not comfortable telling them this information, because obviously they are male and I'm in their car and the car is locked and I don't know what they're going to do or what they're going to drive me to. So, you know, I try to stay polite by saying that either my husband bought the apartment or he's the one paying for it. But I shouldn't have to do that, because people shouldn't ask strangers questions like that. You know, like, and it's not the only time. One day a friend of mine gave something to her friend so that she could bring it by my place, and she asked me the same question: "How much do you pay rent?" Keep in mind, this was the first time I was seeing this person. The first time, you guys, the very first time. Okay, we met by my conciergerie downstairs, and she asked how much you pay in rent. Really? In 2025 almost? This is what we're doing? Yeah, don't ask people how much they paid for anything. It's just not okay, unless you are a very close friend to them. Again, you guys, most of this applies, you know, to good acquaintances. Okay, if you are super close friend to somebody, then of course you can ask them anything. Like, I would ask my best friend, "Hey girl, where did you get these earrings and how much did you pay for them?" And that's okay. It's acceptable because our relationship allows for it. We've been the closest friend, best friend since, you know, for 10 years now. So yeah, and I know that in America also the culture is a little bit different. I heard that it's acceptable there to ask people how much they make, and that people just talk freely about how much they make. So obviously, maybe depending on where you are, but here in Europe, you don't ask people how much they make. You don't ask them how much they pay for rent. You don't ask them how much they paid, you know, for something that they have. Okay, also don't beg for stuff. Okay, like, I can't believe I have to add this one, but if you're an adult person, please do not beg for something that belongs to somebody else. You know, people always talk about how money changes people, and I personally, you know, I don't believe that money changes anyone. Granted, I do find that some people behavior change when they get money. I believe that's who they were to begin with. You know, I believe they were always a villain. They just, you know, their finances didn't allow for them to act right. Really, they're villain character, but I don't believe that people change when they get money. However, something that I know for a fact is that money changes the people around you. I don't care, okay? And I don't have, you know, tremendous amount of money, okay? I don't have FU money, I don't have private jet money, I don't have Bentley truck money. I say this all the time, you know. I have some money, right? Depending on the person, some people would say upper middle class. Hell, if these people have a lot of money, they could even say middle class, right? Depending on the person, you know, it will vary between the two. But I seen the people around me change. I seen them feel real entitled to my ish, okay? Like, even the other day, a friend of mine came by and visited, and I was using this skincare product, and she was like, yeah, just, can you give it to me? And I'm like, why should I give it to you? Like, oh yeah, you know, you can buy another one. Yeah, I know I can buy another one, but that doesn't answer the question of why should I give you my ish, something that belongs to me? Why can't you buy your own if you want this product, okay? And I feel like people sometimes are feel very entitled, begging people for things. People will ask you for your last piece of gum. They'll ask you, you know, for food that you're eating, that you brought up, it's in a container. I brought it for me, okay? And I see this as someone who doesn't mind sharing, but it just puts you in a very uncomfortable position when people ask you for something unprovoked that, you know, belongs to you. And sometimes people will ask like for super expensive things too. Like, you know, I always wear these bangles. You guys know if you've seen like majority collection and so. And sometimes people will ask me like, hey, you have so many bangles, can you give me one? And I'm like, no, like, am I supposed to give you a bangle that costs thousands of dollars? Like, how are you even comfortable asking for something like this? Like, please, people, don't ask people for things that belongs to them. I mean, if someone offers you something, granted, you can take it, sure, of course. But yeah, it's not okay to just randomly ask people to give you things, you know. It makes the whole, you know, atmosphere just very uncomfortable because it's not right. Stop begging for stuff and get to your own stuff, okay? Now, I can't believe I even have to add this one in it as well, but say please and thank you, okay? The amount of adults I know that don't say please and don't say thank you is very, very, very concerning, okay? I can't believe this. Sometimes people will call you and ask you for a favor and not say please. Like, why would you ask someone else for a favor and not say please? As if they owed you anything. It's a favor, hon. It's a favor you're asking for. You say please, okay? If someone invites you, you say thank you. Okay, if you go to a coffee shop with a friend and they pay your share, you say thank you. If you go to a restaurant with a friend and they pay your share, you say thank you. Okay, if they give you something, a present, you say thank you. Okay, I can't believe that grown-ass adults don't know this, but the amount of time I've dealt with people who don't say please and who don't say thank you is concerning. And honestly, I don't know who raised it all, because that wouldn't fly with my mom. Okay, one thing about my mom as a child, one thing she never played about was please and thank you. Okay, that lady, she never played about them words. Okay, if my mom gave you something and you didn't say thank you, she just grab it back. Honey, you'll be lucky if she didn't grab your hand with it. Okay, she just grabbed it back. And back then I hated it as a child. I felt that was really harsh, but honestly it's something I'm really grateful for today, because baby, okay, like people always compliment me on how polite I am. Like even in restaurant, I will always say thank you to, you know, the waiter or waitresses. Now I know some people will say, it's their job. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the backbone to be rude to waiters and waitresses. Okay, I'm not looking for anybody to spit in my food. So if you guys can do it, y'all do y'all. But I personally, I make it be cute. I'm a tip. I don't want wahala. Okay, and yeah, the same thing apply for please. Like if you ask my mom for anything and you didn't say please, she would act as if she didn't hear you. Literally, she would give you the silent treatment. She would then talk to my dad or whoever was in the house and say, are you hearing any type of noise? Baby, she wouldn't mind you, okay? And yeah, I know some people are gonna feel like this is not the healthiest way to teach something to a child, maybe, but sometimes you really have to go there. Like if you try to tell a child many times, you have to say please, you have to say thank you, and you tell them so many times in so many different ways, and it's the nicest way, and they don't seem to get it, maybe you have to go there and, you know, gangster it up like my mom did, because Otherwise, you have adults out here who don't know how to say please and how to say thank you, or when to say please and when to say thank you. So, you know, I'm actually really grateful that my mom did that. Again, as a child, sometimes I felt, is this my biological mother? Because I felt she was harsh. But, you know, today, looking back in retrospect, I'm really grateful for that. So, shout out to you, mom, because I know you is watching. Okay. Also, now, if you take a sip of red wine, every time I say also, you're going to be drunk by the end of this video. Also, if you want to get into an elevator, a train, you know, you wait first until the people who are in go out, and then you go in, you know. Otherwise it just, there's a lot of confusion, people bumping into each other, like it's just not giving. Okay, like I see this all the time, especially with the train, and when there's a lot of people in it and a lot of people want to go in it, you know, it would be just easier and less confusion if the people that, you know, were out of the train waited for the people that were in it to come out so we could go in, and then, you know, there would be no bumping into each other. Okay, now don't touch strangers. Don't touch strangers. If you don't know them, don't touch them. Oh my Lord, this is such a big thing for me, and it's such a boundary for me, and I don't understand why people always out here touching people they don't know. Is very, very upsetting. It's very, very annoying. It's not only men too, women do this as well. You can talk to me without physically touching me. I don't like it. Okay, me don't like it. Please, it's just not okay to touch strangers. I tell you guys this all the time. I used to be a people pleaser of the worst kind, so I wasn't very comfortable telling people, you know, don't touch me. But nowadays I'm just like, yeah, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to take your hands away from me, because it's just not right. Okay, you can talk to people without physically touching them. It's not necessary, it's not needed. I don't feel like, you know, we should be that comfortable with strangers. Like, let's apply it to bodies too. You know, I know people don't like when people touch their hair, you know, especially, you know, these people, we always tell them not to touch our hair, but I feel we need to normalize in the community generally to not let people, you know, unless you're comfortable with them, unless they're super good friends of you, yeah, don't touch me. You can talk to me without touching me. You can compliment me without touching me. Like the touching, the shoulder touching, not necessary. The back touching, not necessary. Okay? Now, I can't believe I even have to say this, but I've experienced it, so I'm going to include it. Is if someone is asking you for something that you borrowed from them, you don't get to be mad. Okay, like if you owe them something and they ask you for it, you don't get to be mad. Okay, like you came begging for money or anything from somebody, okay, and you said you give it back at a certain time frame. Now, if they ask you back for it at that exact time frame, why are you mad? Why are you angry? Like, it don't make sense. Like, shouldn't they be mad that you didn't uphold your end of the deal? Like, that you didn't give them, you know, back the money. Let's say it was money at the time you said you would, and now they have to ask for it. Like, I've had this happen to me so many times where people would owe me money and I would ask them for it, and they'd be mad. Like, they legit be mad. They'd be like, I told you guys about this before. Somebody was like, well, you got so much money. What? Excuse you. First of all, you is not my financial advisor. Okay, you have not talked to like anybody at my bank. So how do you know exactly how much money I got? I mean, you can think I got money, but maybe I'm just bad at managing money. Maybe the reason why I spend so much or have so much designer items is because I'm bad at managing money. And even if, let's say, I had a lot of money, it don't matter. Like, I don't care how much money I get. I want the money you owe me. Okay, I could be, listen, I would be a billionaire. I still want the money you owe me, because guess what? It was a loan. Okay, if you want the gift, you should have asked for a gift, and then maybe I would have given it to you as a gift. But if you come to me crying and begging for a loan, I expect every last cent of that money back. And that's on Mary and the Lamb. Okay, don't sleep. Also, don't buy super nice, super expensive things when you owe somebody money. Like, I don't feel like this is even an unspoken social rule. I feel this is an anti-stupidity rule, because how dumb can you be to owe somebody money and then go and post on WhatsApp, on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere about something super expensive you bought, like post it. Like, I feel, yeah, that's just rude. It's crazy. Please don't do this. It's just not right for you to go, I don't know, get you a Gucci bag for 2,000 euros when you owe somebody 300. Like, that's rude. Okay, like, it just doesn't work like that. And then I've actually had someone justify it by saying, yeah, but what I bought was not as expensive as how much I owed you. It's still you know, if you owe me 2K, let's say you owe me 2K and you buy something that costs 300, still, you know, if you kept that 300 and added another 1700 to it, that it will be the 2K you owe me. So let's be mindful, okay, when we owe other people monies, of how we act and how we react, okay? If you bump into somebody, say excuse me. Now again, this is one I can't believe that I even have to say, but sometimes people will bump into you and they won't even say sorry. Like, they feel so justified too. Like, if you look at them, they'll be like, what? I'm like, what do you mean what? Okay, so please, if you bump into someone, say excuse me, because you know, it's just not, yeah, sometimes it hurts too. Like, sometimes people bump you like kind of hard, you know, like, I'm like, what? Do you work out daily or what, ma'am? What's your routine? Sir. If somebody lends you something, give it back in impeccable condition, okay? Like, let's say you went to sleep at a friend's house and they lended you a t-shirt or something to sleep in, okay? Now, if you're going to leave it there, just put it in, you know, where they put in their dirty clothes. But if you're gonna take it home with you, make sure you wash it before you give it back to your friend. Like, don't just give it back dirty. Like, that's not okay. It's not all right. As they gave it to you to wear, you know, it was clean. Hopefully it was. So, you know, the bare minimum, the least you can do is wash it in your machine, iron it, you know, let it be really nice, and give it back to your friend and say, thank you so much for lending me, you know, your pajama, your t-shirt, you know, your wig, your units, whatever it is they lended you, you know, make sure that you give it back in good condition, impeccable condition. Like, don't return something to somebody. If you destroyed it, you should have to replace it. I'm sorry, but that's what I think. You know, if someone lends you something and you destroy it, then you should have to replace it. Like, you shouldn't give it back to them destroyed. I don't feel like you should even have to put them in the situation where you're telling them it's damaged, because I feel sometimes people tell you this so that you can say, oh, don't worry about it. I don't feel that's right. Like, if I damage something that someone lent me, I actually just replace it. I don't tell the person that it's damaged, because I don't want to have to put them in you know, position that is uncomfortable for them, where they have to tell me like, oh yeah, it's okay. No, okay, I broke it, I'm gonna replace it, you know, get you a brand new one, and that's that on that. Now, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on, okay, well, I'm gonna stop right here because this video is already very long. And if you guys are interested, okay, so depending on how well this video will do, how much you guys engage in the comment section, etc, etc, I'm going to list part 2 and part 3, you know, of the million unspoken social rules that I have learned as a 35 years old. Okay, now if you made it to the end of this video, I'm grateful and appreciative of you. Please do not forget to like. In the comment section down below, let me know, what are the unspoken social rules that you know about? Okay, do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye guys. Mwah. Thanks for watching.